Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Duckville here, bringing you another game from the Australian scene, the C scene, if you want to get sort of a bit more broad about it. This is going to be another game between a couple. In fact, both of these players that we're going to see today are from Australia, and they're going to be competing in the WCS Australian Nationals this weekend. Oh my god! It's on the 11th of August, coming to a stream near you. I hope that everybody tunes in. If you've watched some of these games, you'll know that down here in Australia we do have some fantastic players, and it's not just a barren landscape of kangaroos and wombats and no StarCraft 2 players. We've got a lot of Zerg players. We've got a few Protoss, and of course we've got a couple of Terrans as well. All of them, the best of the best, will be on display at WCS this weekend, which is up in Sydney, a bit north of me. But in fact, speaking of my particular location, is our first player here, who's actually from my particular city down here in Melbourne. It is our pink Zerg by the name of EveTechTron. He's a very decent player. He's done really well lately. He's been one of the real big forces in the sort of the local scene here, particularly in Melbourne, now that a couple of players have moved around and that sort of thing. So he's really one to watch out for. Of course, if you are going to be watching the WCS stream and you're a big Zerg fan, there are lots of Zergs, but this guy is definitely one to keep an eye on as well. Looks like he's going to start out with just the pool first, of course, just making sure that he's safe. We are on Antigua Shipyard, the MLG version. I don't know if this is from a particular tournament or not. Unfortunately, of course, it's been a bit hard to get replays of the guys because they're all, just a little bit protective at this sort of stage of, where we're just about to come into a tournament, which is perfectly okay, I understand. And so what we're going to do is, this is an older one. This is from a few months back between these players, so I don't know exactly where this is from, but EveTechTron's opponent down here, the red Zerg, who just amazingly got, like in ninja style, got that Nexus down. That was incredible. Is our red Zerg, who his name says he's in SQL, but he's not anymore. He's actually part of one of the couple of big teams down here in Australia. He's now part of Team Immunity. It is Yang. Of course, if you've seen one of the earlier games that I posted of Yang against another one of our Australian players, Ninja, you'll have seen some of his particular play. It was a very cool game on Daybreak. If you haven't seen that one, I would certainly recommend to check it out. So we'll find out what Yang is going to do. Of course, in fact, in that particular game that I did the cast off, we saw one of Yang's particular talents that I've actually come to very much respect is his force field usage. It's just been absolutely phenomenal to watch him. Just there's very little overlap. He's one of those players. You see when you talk about Protoss, a lot of people will say that it's very much about execution as a Protoss. It's not necessarily that you can always have numbers and all that sort of stuff, but you do have the right tech, and if you can commit to your execution properly, that's where a Protoss will start to dominate. And Yang's force fields have just been amazing. So hopefully we'll get to see some of that here today. He's got a scouting probe that did have to come back to base. There is a cannon. It's going to protect the mineral line just a little bit here. The cannon position means that he's only going to cover this sort of area here. As we can see, the probes actually have to go to the defense of this particular side of the base. Now, it'll be interesting to see if he actually just continues to wall off. You can put a pylon down this sort of position here, or I believe you can put one around about there. I don't know. As everyone knows, I actually hate this map, but you can of course get a little bit more of a nicer wall going off, but it really depends on how safe you really want to be and how many minerals you want to commit to it. Now, Antigua, of course, is one of the maps that's been around for quite a while. I'm really hoping they get rid of it soon, though. It can be a little bit frustrating to see people playing on this map, and you're playing this very nice version where they've got no gold in the middle, but then there are certain tournaments that run with the standard Blizzard version, which has gold in the middle, which means that certain races can have a bit of an advantage, and it can just get a little bit out of control. But when it comes to PvZ on this particular map, of course, as a Protoss will know, when you get to 3 bases, it's a very nice position to be in, and coming up to take this base is generally an easy thing to do. But the issue is if your Zerg opponent goes into Stefano mode, where you're getting a lot of roaches and lings and really hardcore pressuring this third base, because of course there is the secondary ramp that leads into it, you can run into a bit of trouble. If the third does not go up, you can actually just be very stuck stuck for where to go. You can't realistically take this one here. Taking the middle base is fraught with danger, of course, and it's very much a situation where you have to be very careful with what you do. So we'll see what Yang is going to do here. It looks as if he is going to do some 4-gate pressure just right at the start. Now we do have +1 weapons just about to complete, chronoing out that Wolfgate tech as well. And inside the third base of EveTechTron, we've actually got a Zealot and a Stalker that are inside here. Beautiful micro from Yang to keep the Stalker out of danger for the most part. Unfortunately, the Zealot goes down, and now that Stalker will have to get out of there because he will not be able to take down 5 Lings, especially when there is creep around. So he is going to escape for the time being. But as we can see, 2 pylons are being constructed, and they are actually out of vision. Oh no, he actually did see it. He must have just clipped it with the side of the vision when the Lings went across. But Yang now has his 4 gates up, warping in a couple of those Zealots. They've got their +1, of course, so they will just absolutely shred the Lings like a piece of cheese going on some pasta. And yeah, he's definitely going to push into this base and cause some damage. We'll have to see how EveTechTron is going to react. He's got 10 Lings on the way. The lair is morphing. Speed is not on the way either, because of course we've been a little bit later with the gas. And now the Roaches have popped out, so they're going to certainly help with defending this. But with 4 Zealots here, if the Roaches aren't able to get a bit of free space, you're actually going to run into quite a lot of trouble. And as you can see, these Zealots doing a heap of damage, killing all sorts of units here. In fact, a beautifully positioned Zealot is taking out drones in the middle line, but for the moment, the attack has been thwarted. So Yang doing a really nice job here. He's back at home. He's going to continue to get his tech up. We got the Twilight Council Robo facility for EveTechTron. He's just still gotten just the 3 gas at the moment, so he's not really going to go too hard into his tech just yet, but he is going to face a little more pressure. A Zealot coming along, trying to get the last few swipes on that Queen. But now with the high ground vision from this probe, 3 Stalkers are able to warp in, taking down one of the Queens. Are they going to be able to get the second? Yes, they certainly are. The question is, are they going to get some of these drones that are trying to retreat? And it looks like just one is going to go down. Unfortunate for that little drone, but this will probably be the end of this pressure for now. As we can see, the Roaches are starting to come out in a very high, much higher number there. The creep spread has come out quite nicely, and beautifully done by Yang. He's going to retreat, so not going to overcommit or anything like that, knowing that we're at that round about that 10-minute mark where things like the upgrades for Roach attacks start kicking in. Roach speed is also something which is very likely to come up soon. So the fact that Yang has pulled back is quite nice here. I do like that he's trying to defend the pylons. Obviously, again, you don't really want to overcommit to this too much, but with that probe on the high ground, is he going to be able to warp in here? I don't know, because the Queen is probably going to take that probe down, and if not, the Roaches will finish the job, and there they go. So Yang is, as we said, doing a nice job of doing some pressure, just trying to make sure his opponent does not freely get to a stage where he's sitting at something like, you know, 70 to sort of that 65 to 70 drone range, where Zergs just love that sort of thing, and they have this macro hatchery that comes up with Roach speed and +1 done. You'll start to see them sort of kick into that very heavy pressure mode, and the third base will be under threat. So Yang doing quite nicely here. We've got a lot of sentries out, 8 of them in fact, almost with full energy. That is going to be a lot of force fields that are able to hold back this Roach army that is now waddling its way across the map like a group of penguins, and they're going to try and take down these destructible debris that is guarding the third base. But Yang going to wall off a little bit, a couple of gateways here, perhaps a cannon or 2 at the back, and the Stalkers look like they're going to try and take a few easy kills here, and they do get 2 Roaches. Going to get a nice little win here, and again, there it is, beautiful force fields by Yang. In fact, barely any overlap here at all. Some Lings trying to push through the back, trying to get us around on those units, but they get forced back as well. And even more force fields, just trapping every single thing that EveTechTron has. And I'm sure he's thinking, are these force fields ever going to end? But there are still more and more there. As we can see, there's still at least probably 4 or 5 force fields that Yang has available to help defend this particular position. And now with an Immortal out as well, he's going to look very nice. And now with +1 armor also on the way, that's going to help with the +2 to weapons that he's already done. These Roaches, meanwhile, only have their +1 to weapons and trying to attack in there, trying to bulldog their way through, getting caught out by a couple more force fields, and Yang is looking very nice at the moment. Despite what the supply says, he's sitting quite nicely. He's just got to get a couple more Immortals out, and he'll be looking very pretty to defend this third base here. He's got this observer here that is spotting every single movement. I cannot sort of stress how important that is to have good observer positioning. So he's got this one out here that's spotting where the movements are, and of course this one across on the other side, which also sees where everything is going to, and the fact that there are just continuous reinforcements here. So we've got some more force fields right up the top there, just blocking out one of the paths. And that's one really nice thing about what he's doing here, is that he's trying to fight on the opposite side of this little chasm here. And what that means is he can block off one of the pathways, attack the other one, and when the force fields wore off, he can either restart those force fields again to block it off, and then put himself in a nice position. The worker count looking very good for Yang at the moment, 77 probes at the moment. He's also got his robotics bay on the way, a second robotics facility, meaning that he's going to really start cranking out those Immortals slash Colossus once the tech is up, and the Roaches do start to push through, but they get caught out yet again with so many force fields able to trap the rest of the units. EveTechTron is trying to push back up into the third base and try and get some damage done here, but the rest of his forces are getting absolutely annihilated, as we can see, and he is getting a little bit of damage here. A very cute blink by this Stalker to get on the safe side of the gateways. I really do like that, but Tektron is starting to lose his supply, and in fact has lost his supply lead. Yang now sitting on 166 supply. He is no doubt going to be getting out a couple of Colossus very soon as well, and that is going to add to the firepower of his forces here. Now, Tektron behind all this has gotten his fourth base up, so he's sitting very nicely here as well. The economy, not too bad. Of course, the big issue, as we said earlier, is that a Protoss on 3 bases is going to be laughing at this point when you can sit there getting all the tech up that you want, and despite the fact that the Infestors are also on the way with their pathogen glands just about to complete. Nice timing here for Tektron. He's still going to be in a bit of trouble once the Colossus are out, because all of that firepower means that he's going to have a little bit of trouble defending any sorts of attacks. And here comes Yang up the top yet again. Look at these force fields, man. They are just absolutely perfect there. And he's just able to fight on his terms, and that's a big thing. As we were saying before, the big thing with Protoss is that if you can get your execution right, make sure that you are fighting on your terms, you'll be sitting in a very nice sort of position there, meaning that you can sort of take advantage of the fact that you do have better sort of capabilities with all of your units. And now with those big boy Colossus out, he is going to look very, very threatening here. Extended Thermal Lance is just about done. +3 to weapons, also just about done. Meanwhile, for Tektron, he finds an observer here. He's going to try and get rid of that, so he does have a little bit better map presence, but unfortunately he's not able to get it just yet. But the Infestors are now coming out, and here comes Yang. There is just a wall of force fields. He says no. That wall of force fields was just perfect there. But Yang playing beautifully there, locking out his opponent from getting any sort of damage done. Unfortunately, Tektron just perhaps not able to get too many Infestors into the battle, which means that he was not able to lock down these Stalkers here, and so they were able to blink around. And with those force fields, unfortunately, that engagement did not go too well for Tektron. But very nice play from both of these guys. As I said, you can see them this Saturday on the Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember exactly which day. That's Australian Eastern Standard Time on the StarCraft 2 WCS stream for Australia. And I hope you all tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll catch you all next time. Cheers.